Howdy guys, welcome back to Stewie MTG. As today we will be opening and taking a look at some of the cards from the new Forgotten Realms Dungeons & Dragons Commander deck, Dungeons of Death. This is the white, blue, black Commander deck with Sir Friss of the Hidden Waves. But with that, I'm going to start cracking this open and taking a look at some of the cards with you guys. Once again, I'm not going to be making that commander specifically. This is going to end up being kind of torn apart and used for other decks. I'm glad, you know what, in looking at this packaging, once again, you get the printed commander on the packaging. I really don't understand this. I still actually have the previous 5 commanders from Strixhaven sitting in a box. So if anybody wants these, just pay shipping and I'll send it to you. But you get these kind of tokens on the top and the sides. Giant piece of junk in my opinion. But what I do like are these deck boxes. I like their closure. It actually stays closed pretty well. I put these in my 5,000 count card boxes. You're going to have to excuse my voice. I've been dealing with a cold for the last couple weeks. But these were great for holding cards in my 5,000 count boxes. So anyways, let's dig into it. I really like the design of the box. And we've got some filler here. Another one of these spin downs. Hey Brian, there's more heading your way. A little poster. And we get to the deck. So let's actually bust that open and take a look at what we got in here. And I'll be making some comments as to what some of these cards are going to end up being used for. I think there's only one of these 4 that I'm going to actually be basically taking it and modifying it, and that would be the Draconic Rage deck. It will be majorly cannibalized for my Grixis Dragons deck. But with that, they give you a bunch of tokens, and in the back with the tokens is actually 2 of the dungeons. We've got, get in there, Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Zoom in here a little bit for you guys. And Tomb of Annihilation. I like the inclusion and the idea of going into the dungeon. I have played Dungeons and Dragons in the past and have enjoyed it immensely. And so this kind of merger between Dungeons and Dragons and Magic is great in my opinion. Unlike, in my opinion, the Walking Dead crossover, I didn't like as much. Then they also give you this thick version of the commander in the back. I have still all of the Strixhaven ones. If anybody wants them, it's up on my trade page. You actually get a regular Magic version of it. It is white, blue, black for a 2/3 legendary creature human wizard. Whenever one or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, venture into the dungeon. This ability only triggers once per turn, unfortunately. It also has the ability Create Undead. Whenever you complete a dungeon, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. 2 great abilities. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of dungeons. And unfortunately, you can only do it once per turn. The other commander, foil commander that comes with this is Nihilor. 2 and white, blue, black for a 3/5 horror, legendary creature horror. When it enters battlefield for each opponent, tap 1 untapped creature you control. When you do, gain control of target creature player controls with power less than or equal to the tapped creature's power for as long as you controlled Nihilor. Whenever you attack with a creature an opponent owns, you gain 2 life and that player loses 2 life. And this one actually already has some damage on it, up by the mana cost, mana value on the top right corner. But what else do we get in here? We get Minimus Containment. It makes a permanent into a treasure token. That's interesting removal. You've got Hama Pashar, Ruin Seeker, 3 mana, 2/3. Room abilities of dungeons you own trigger an additional time. So if you're going to be going into the dungeon, you might as well get double bang for your buck. You get Dungeon Map, another way of triggering your dungeon abilities. You get an Evolving Wilds. I'm always thankful for that. You've got Bucknard's Everfull Purse. 2 mana artifacts, 1 in tap, roll a d4, create a number of treasure tokens equal to the result. That will be going into my Magda treasure deck. Clay Golem, 4 mana for a 4/4. 6 mana, comma, roll a d8, and it gets Monstrosity X. When it becomes monstrous, destroy target permanent. Component Pouch, 3 mana artifact. You can tap it to remove a component counter from it to add 2 mana of different colors. You can tap it to roll a d20. On a result of 1 to 9, put a component counter on it, or 10 to 20, put 2 component counters. That's kind of interesting. Might end up in a deck somewhere. You've got a reprint of Ronan Unicorn, Swords to Plowshares, Wall of Omens. I already have one for my wall deck, but it's always nice to have another one. Forbidden Alchemy for card draw with flashback. Merfolk Looter for card draw. Same thing with Muldrifter. Murder Crows is card filtering. You have another reprint of Propaganda, which I could definitely use. Plague Crafter for sacking creatures. Reassembling Skeleton, Regeneration. Shriekmaw. Doomblade on a stick. Unburial Rites. And Victimize. Now for some multicolor, we have Cloud Blazer for some life-gaining card draw. Removal with Despark. You've got a reprint of Necrotic Sliver. You've got Obsessive Stitcher. I believe, wasn't that from Strixhaven? Vanish into Memory. We got some more artifacts that includes Ramp in the form of Arcane Signet, Burnished Heart, Commander Sphere, you've got Immovable Rod, 1 mana, 1 white mana artifact. You may choose not to untap Immovable Rod during your untap step. Whenever it becomes untapped, venture into the dungeon. For as long as it remains tapped, another target permanent loses all abilities and can't attack or block. A new angel, yay! May or may not be going in one of my angel decks. Radiant Solar, 5 generic, 1 white for a 3/6 flying lifelink angel. Whenever Radiant Solar or another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, venture into the dungeon. Ability, 1 mana, comma, discard Radiant Solar, venture into the dungeon and gain 3 life. Revivify, 3 mana instant, roll a d20, and add the number of creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. In a roll of 1 to 14, return all creature cards from your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn into your hand. And if you roll 15 plus, return those cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. That is excellent. Thorough Investigation, 3 mana enchantment. Whenever you attack, investigate. So for those clue token decks. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, venture into the dungeon. Arcane Endeavors, 7 mana sorcery. Roll 2d8 and choose 1 result. So you get advantage. You draw cards equal to that result. Then you may cast an instant or sorcery with mana value less or equal to the other result from your hand without paying its mana cost. That is definitely going in my Izzet deck. Min, Willy Illusionist, a legendary creature, 3 mana, 1/3, gnome wizard. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 blue illusion creature token. With this, creature gets 1+1/+0 for each other illusion you control. This is going in my illusion deck. Whenever an illusion you control dies, you may put a permanent card with mana value less or equal to that creature's power from your hand onto the battlefield. Definitely going in my tribe illusion. You got Phantom Steed, 4 mana, 4/3 horse illusion. When it enters the battlefield, exile another creature you control until it leaves the battlefield. When it attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of the card that you exiled. Rod of Absorption, 3 mana artifact. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, exile it instead of putting it into the graveyard as it resolves. You can play X and sacrifice it and may spell any number of spells exiled with Rod of Absorption with mana X or less without paying their mana costs. That's definitely Izzet material. Graven Death versus 7 mana instant. Roll 2d10. Choose one result. Return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the result. Then each opponent loses X life. You gain X life, where X is the other result. Wand of Orcus, 3 mana, our legendary artifact equipment. Whenever equipped creature attacks or blocks, it and zombies you control gain Death Touch until end of turn. This is going into my Verena Zombies deck. Whenever equipped creature deals common damage to a player, create that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, and equipped for 3. That is definitely going in there. Extract Brain, X, blue-black. Sorcery. Target opponent chooses X cards from their hand. Look at those cards. You may cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. This is going in my discard deck. Midnight Pathlighter, 2 white-blue for a 2/3 human wizard. Creatures you control can't be blocked except by legendary creatures. Provides evasion. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal common damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. Got a reprint of Cataclysmic Gearhulk, Eternal Dragon, Karmic Guide. Good, I needed another copy. Sun Titan, I needed another one of those as well. Sunblast Angel, I have plenty of those. Champion of Wits, another reprint. Curator of Mysteries, going in Sphinx Tribal. Phantasmal Image, going my illusion deck. Doomed Necromancer, Necromantic Selection. Ashen Rider, so glad they included Baleful Strix. I needed a copy. You've got Hostage Taker in removal. You've got Utter End. Ramp with Solemn Simulacrum. And let's look at some of the... Actually, before we get to the non-basics, make sure nothing else is mixed in here. You've got some Ramp with Fellow Stone. Removal with Meteor Golem. You've got Soul Ring. And finally, for the Commander's Quarters, a reprint of Wayfarer's Bauble. You've got Choke Estuary as a new land. Reprint of Darkwater Catacombs. Excellent. That is going in my Dimir discard deck. Exotic Orchard. Gaia Reach Sanitarium. High Market. Nimbus Maze that I haven't seen in forever. We've got Port Town. Prairie Stream, Sunken Hollow, Arcane Sanctum, Azorius Chancery, Command Tower, Dimir Aqueduct, Esper Panorama, Orzhov Basilica, Terramorphic Expanse, Thriving Heath, Thriving Isle, and Thriving Moor. Excellent, because I did not get any Jumpstart, and so it's nice to get some of the Jumpstart lands. And lastly, mixed in here is a Lightning Grease. Now, what people really like from this set, and these will actually be going up on my trade page, is the new lands. The new Forgotten Realms lands. Here's one of the plains, one of the islands, and a swamp. They do look great, but just not necessarily my particular cup of tea. Anyways, you also get a nice gaggle of tokens, as you do in each of the commander sets. But that was the Sephiroth of the Hidden Ways commander deck, and discussion about what I'm going to do with it. Let me know, guys, if you guys are going to end up actually building it, or if you're going to end up cannibalizing a lot of these commander decks like I will be. With that, this has been Stewie MTG. Stay tuned for the 3 remaining Adventures in the Forgotten Realms D&D set commanders. Bye, all.